Johnny and Justin were two simple Imagineers at Disneyland until they dared to ask the question,
Hey Justin, is Disney diverse?
Well, Johnny, I'm not.
Oh no, we buried the mouse!
Stormtroopers, run!
Holy crap, it's a gathering of cookies!
Now, from undisclosed locations within the Disney park, Johnny and Justin record a podcast where they seek to answer the question, is the Disney catalog diverse?
Hey everyone, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Justin.
And welcome to Disney+Diversity, where two Disney fans navigate the Disney catalog to find an answer to the question, is Disney diverse?
And today's special guest is... Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kailey Bray. I'm the creator of Damsels, Dice, and Everything Nice, the princess parody show on YouTube where princesses play a tabletop RPG.
It is so cool. It is so good.
You can check it out at Damsels, Dice, and Everything Nice on YouTube.
I watched the very first episode, then checked out the second episode. I was like, it is so amazing. How'd you come up with the premise for it?
I realized that most of my friends were either professional princesses or professional D&D players.
Oh.
And I couldn't resist a mashup like that. And I made a Facebook post. It's like, hey, if I wanted to do a princess D&D project, who'd want to be a part of it? And I got 60 responses. And every single person who responded was involved in some way, which is crazy.
That's awesome. That's super dope.
Also, real quick, who do you play in the show?
So I play Belle, who's also the game master. So she runs the story.
That's perfect. That totally makes sense.
She be reading them books.
Even
though apparently the town doesn't want her to. At some point we have to talk about that. How does a town want someone to be illiterate? How do you judge somebody for reading? Seriously.
Hold that thought to the Beauty and the Beast episode.
All right.
Oh my god, I have so many... Okay. Let me come back if you do Beauty and the Beast, please.
We will hit you up. For sure.
I also want to point out that currently this episode is being recorded underneath the World of Disney at DCA. So we're at the other park for today, which makes sense. We're by the water, and across from us is the Little Mermaid attraction.
Oh!
Which is very appropriate.
I was wondering why I had to slush through 2 feet of water to get here today.
Yeah, don't worry about that, and don't touch the lights.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really bright. Okay, let's proceed. Yeah.
Okay, so the Little Mermaid. So let's just start off. So super excited to do this. We all know that Little Mermaid started off the Disney Renaissance and everything. How did you guys feel about when we first saw it as kids?
I'm trying to remember, because I'm pretty sure I'm kind of a youngin'. So I saw a lot of the new, the Disney animation, the Renaissance films all kind of at the same time.
The remastered version when they came back out and everything?
No, not that young. Thank you.
So VHS DVDs.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't get to see Little Mermaid in theaters. I think actually, my mom, taped it. It was not even official.
Listen, we're underground.
Exactly.
It's fine. Any illegal things you're doing, we're already in trouble.
Little Mermaid. And I remember really loving it, and then rewatching it for this. I was like, wow, what must it have been like for people watching something like this for the first time, seeing these seeing mermaids treated this way on screen. But I also remember as a kid being not able to understand Ariel.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
I was like, you're a mermaid. Why would you give that up?
Not only that though, you are a princess.
You're a mermaid princess. Your life is set. Okay, what are you doing?
Exactly.
That's the one big thing that I remember from like my initial responses to it as a kid. And frankly, I still kind of
You still stand by this stuff.
kind of like, you're a mermaid, just a guy.
Yes. He was like, why are you doing these things? Why?
For me, I did get to see. I'm a lot older than that, so I get to see I did see the movie in theaters, and I actually the movie's kind of has a strong connection with me because I associate it with my sister. This is her favorite movie of all time.
Oh.
And I remember she was obsessed with it. She got the CD, and like I liked movies, so like I liked animated movies, so I watched it with her like all the time. And so I associate this movie with my sister. Like right now at her house, like she has like this beautiful painted Ariel.
Oh,
wow.
sick.
Like just
Dope.
framed on the wall, you know. It's like so. No, I associate this movie always with my big sister.
Oh, that's super dope. So I'm a little bit older than that. So I remember first hearing about it. I first remember hearing about it on the radio, and the movie was coming in. No, I'm kidding. No. So,
Little Mermaid, what's this?
Exactly. What? No.
Somewhere under the sea.
That Disney's at it again. So no, I remember like. So honestly, I can't remember if I saw this on video or in the theater because to be honest with you, the one that always sticks out to me in theater is my favorite one is Aladdin.
Oh,
so
sure.
Aladdin's always the one I always go to as my favorite of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
But I do remember Little Mermaid though, and I do remember honestly my favorite character was Sebastian. Because I'll be honest though, when I used to watch the Disney movies and the musical parts would come, most of the times it would kind of like gloss over me, like but like low key though, the Little Mermaid soundtrack be kind of slapping because he's got that reggae influence, and Sebastian be bringing him, he's just like do 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 do. Oh, look at him go! And to this day, "Kiss the Girl." One of the most romantic songs of all time. When I make my like romance mix, it's like Sade and then Sebastian. It was like, yeah.
I appreciate that. That's
Exactly. Then we go into the boys to men, so it kind of works out perfectly. Sebastian,
good.
Exactly.
That's a good mix.
Exactly. When this song comes on, she knows what I'm trying to do. But I will be real. When I was going back to rewatch this, it was like first that opening scene, we like see the dolphins and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, we didn't have computers because this is like really like you can tell this is all hand drawn and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a different time period. But at the same time, though, I kind of appreciated it, but definitely did have my problems with it as well.
Okay. Now, overall, like we said, okay, so I'll talk about like how we saw it in our different points in our point. Like, but let's talk about like how this ranks in the Renaissance of classic Disney. Now we're going to talk about all Disney, or just starting from here till like Home on the Range.
I would say like low key, in my opinion. Well, we'll let the guests go first.
So, Santa, I have trouble placing them. Because it was Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty.
I think Cinderella's Sleeping Beauty.
I should know this.
Are you talking about your own personal ranking, or are you talking about when they came out?
I'm thinking about like the ones
order.
that are considered like the Renaissance.
Oh, sure.
For the Renaissance, I think it's just The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Lion King, Mulan.
So anything like I guess
the
when
90s pretty much.
When we talk about Renaissance, it's like
Wasn't
Disney.
I said wasn't Beauty and the Beast
The
part?
Beauty
No,
and the
it's
Beast is part
right.
of the Renaissance.
Was it just before?
No, it's part of the Renaissance too.
Definitely a part.
Because Little Mermaid
Yeah.
is technically the first part of the Renaissance, and then all this stuff goes into it and everything like that. And then I
Right.
think the Renaissance ended with Bonkers. Like I can't remember. It was
Something
something
that
bad.
everybody forgets.
It's something bad. Yeah.
You just dropped Bonkers on me right
Yeah,
now.
because it was terrible. And we'll be reviewing it soon. And
Wow.
woo, it's so bad.
I mean, Bonkers is definitely on Disney+, so I have been revisiting
Yeah.
it. All right, so like maybe between this and what, like Mulan.
You can't put anything against Mulan for me. Like,
That's fair.
That's a favorite. For me, it's always the classic. Again, I love these songs the most, but my favorite songs are from Aladdin.
Yeah.
But again, so for me, it always goes between Aladdin, Lion King, Little Mermaid, like low key.
Okay.
And honestly, well, Beauty and the Beast does like again. A lot of the Renaissance is really good. It's really hard to fight the Renaissance.
Yeah.
Because even then with Mulan, Eddie Murphy, hold it down. Hold it down. Good job, Eddie. Good job.
Lion King is always gonna be a personal favorite of mine, but like I said, it's like Aladdin's like the second close favorite of it.
Yeah.
And then this one, really close. But like obviously Beauty and the Beast is like classic as well, and,
Yeah,
and pretty much a perfect movie. But like, but this movie definitely to me is like, I remember being really into Flounder as a kid.
He's so relatable.
Right? But he's definitely like, oh, I get this guy. When he's like, you sure you want to go here?
This is a terrible idea. What if we stay home and safe and like have a snack?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Which I'm like, Flounder, I get that.
It's like the point where they just got away from the shark and she's like, you're such a gup. He's like, we almost died. That shark almost ate me.
Like, this is about being smart, not about being stupid.
Exactly. Don't judge me for wanting to live.
Okay. There is a lot of interesting kind of history about the making of the film.
Yep.
And one of the things that like was kind of interesting is like realizing that around the time the film was released, Disney movies, animated movies, weren't even considered like a regular thing anymore. People, people kind of like they knew they were around, but it was distilled to just, oh, these are kid movies, you know. And like, actually, I was lucky enough last year to do interviews for the 30th anniversary release of Little Mermaid, in which I interviewed Ron Clements and Mark Henn, who were Ron Clements was the co-director of Little Mermaid. Mark Henn was the head animator of Ariel, and a phone interview with Jodie Benson.
Oh,
It was a really nice day. And the coolest thing about hearing Ron Clements talk about it is like, yeah, like we loved making the movies, but everyone assumed, oh, no one likes these movies anymore. So when they were writing and directing Little Mermaid, they were kind of feeling like, while not 100% intentionally, we're feeling like it's something like we wanted to get back to something classic. It has been 30 years since they did a classic fairy tale movie. And they were like, we can make this something that's like those, like Sleeping Beauty, like that. And realizing like how much, there's a lot of things that like, these animators like had all this passion, like we can push for that again.
Yeah.
Now, let's kind of go down a little bit of the list of who else is in this film besides Jodie Benson.
It's bananas.
I actually recognize one name specifically, Christopher Daniel Barnes. I remember him as Greg Brady, and specifically the voice of Spider-Man in the animated 90s cartoon. Buddy Hackett as Scuttle, who is a character I both love and also consistently get annoyed with. It's a fork Scuttle.
Also, Ariel, you know what a fork is. Your dad carries around a giant one.
Low-key! Low-key! You know what it is. You know what it's for. Just stab things. Just stab.
You know what that is.
I'm going to brush my hair. All right,
fine. Like, did you do that with your father's trident? I'm just kidding.
And props to Samuel, you're right. Because like when I got to go into this, I was like, again, we're talking about like how diverse the movie is. So I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh, Sebastian the Crab doing this Jamaican accent. I'm like, I hope this person's black. So when I saw Samuel, I was like, oh, thank God he is. But like, he did a great job in this film.
We also, Pat Carroll. Pat Carroll is Ursula. You have thoughts on Pat Carroll as Ursula?
I mean, one of the most iconic Disney villains still, like, of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. That voice, that singing voice, is just it. I don't even know. Like even I was just like I was like I was kind of doing some other stuff while I was rewatching the film, and then Poor Unfortunate Soul started playing. And went, right. This is a really good number.
Yes.
Sit back and appreciate this.
I was always freaked out by, of course, the little creatures in her lair, the little kind of wormy.
The elves.
Yeah.
No, the people that got turned into the wormy thing.
What did we decide? Whatever those were.
Aren't they like seaweed creatures?
But were they people, right?
They weren't.
They used to be
mermaids.
And now they're just like
and then
seaweed
she
creatures.
just like sucked the life out of them, and they became like little blobby things.
Yeah.
And that's the
You know, I was like, what are they?
when Ursula warns you, says if you don't kiss him in 3 days, that's what you turn into. Like, nah, homie, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh right, I'm a mermaid and I have a great life.
What did Dory say? Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming away.
Come on, bring up the fact that I keep forgetting that Ariel has sisters,
Yeah.
We
and
don't get to know anything about them. Those are these disappointment because like when they're doing the opening number and like, wait, why do all their names start with A? And I was kind of want to know more about that, and also like, where's the mom?
We don't talk about moms.
We don't talk about moms in Disney. First of all.
There it is.
But then it's they were all based off of the Seven Seas, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
That makes sense.
there it is.
But then also because kids' movies have to alliterate everything, they're in Atlantica, So it's Ariel and her other 6 sisters, who also all have names start with A.
Yeah.
And they were only played by like 2 people.
Right.
Do we need to cast all 7? Nah. How many lines do they have?
That's when you're voice acting. You just change it up a little bit, and you're like, I could be somebody different. I can be the redhead and the blonde, because, nobody's really paying that much attention.
Exactly.
I think in the series you find out more about the sisters.
I think so too. No, the series you do. Yeah.
Of course.
Because then they have their own personalities and everything like that.
Yeah.
You see the conflicts happen between them.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then Ariel gets a whale, which is pretty cool. She hangs out with Free Willy for a while.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That was the first episode. I was like, it's Free Willy, the Little Mermaid. They're teaming up.
I saw my reaction. I was like, there's a whale in the show? I'm into that. Okay, why don't we break down the plot a little bit?
Okay, so let's get to the movie.
Yeah, not going to go through the whole film, like every single little bit, but let's start off with the fact that we get a big old shot of the boat.
And those drawn dolphins and everything like that. You can see the hand animation, which really stuck out to me because, again, today's world, a lot of that water would be like computer generated. To make sure it's spreading apart. But like, no, this is all just hand drawn.
It's beautiful.
$40 million is not that much even back then.
Yeah.
And shout out to the orchestrators who were like, we're going to make sure that the cymbals clash exactly when the waves are hitting the bow of the boat.
Yeah.
Because that's how attention to detail works. And we forget.
Oh, no.
People have to do that by hand.
Exactly. You have to watch it and you have to do it, like the timing has to be right, like boom. And they had to do it multiple times. So props up to them. Like, they put this together good.
Yeah, even when it's computer, you still have to do it bit by bit.
Yeah.
By so it's like at the end of the animation is just like extremely hard work just to get like what feels like normal for us every day, but to animate it is like a whole nother skill set. You know?
Yeah, and it's weird too though because like as you watch again making comic books and being a writer and everything like that and studying animation, it's cool because you can see in this movie the transition from like that old Disney style of, like Snow White to like the newer Disney style because they started showing like the people in the ship I want to call them pirates but I guess like the crew of the ship,
sailors.
the sailors, thank you, on the ship or whatever. Some of them still drawing that old more round Disney style, and then slowly the movies begins to become more stiff as they like get accustomed to drawing the new style and everything like that.
Yeah.
So then after that, we see the ship, we see Prince Eric, doesn't get married, pushes off this girl and everything like that. And then they start talking about the mer people. And at first, like his custodian or whatever is like, there's no such thing as mer people. It's like, oh yes, there is. Smacks him with the fish jumps into the water. It's like, oh yes, there is mer people. And that's when we go to Atlantica and we get to meet the princesses and everything.
It's a really great transition from like
Oh, beautiful.
right?
Yeah.
Like just like all the undersea shots are great, and then just like the pacing is actually really great. You get this great opening sequence, and then you get us right into the kingdom and right into our first number.
And what's beautiful about it, kind of remember like Jacques Cousteau as you're seeing like all the color of the ocean, and it like really like brought you in because they kind of was like the first part was like the warm up was like, oh no, here's the main course. This is where the animation like really starts at, and it takes off from there.
Yeah. This is where we introduce Sebastian and King Trident and sisters, and then who's not here?
Star of the show. Which is such a fake out because a lot of Disney films beforehand, you start with the main character.
Yeah, of course.
It's centralized on the main character the whole time, but then it's a fun storytelling trick to suddenly like her absence is what makes her special.
Exactly. It makes her stand out.
Because she's off running around trying to swimming around.
Yeah. Searching for knickknacks like and everything like that, like American Picker style or something.
Yeah.
Like going through old shipwrecks and everything like that.
Well, no, she's like a giant Huma-boo. You know? Like weeaboo, but a human.
Okay, all right. I was like, wait, what?
So she's really into like finding like human like trinkets and such. I just came up with a dumb thing right now. Don't make that a thing.
All right.
But she's huge, like she's like so invested in the surface world that anytime she can find something, including being chased by a shark, she'll risk it. You know?
Which low-key kind of surprised us, Fred, because I was like, but you live in the ocean, and the ocean's kind of vast. There's plenty of stuff to explore. Like, are there other mer cities? Like, you live here in the Atlantic, why don't you just swim to the Pacific? It's bigger. And it's like, that was the kind of blew me away.
Yeah, it's like... I still don't 100% understand where like her fascination with like the surface world comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also like I get it for certain people who are different. And want to explore, like find the newest thing they can, the literal opposite of what they know.
Yeah.
Kind of like a rebellious thing.
Right. I'm 16.
I I like this. I'm different than you. Have you heard of this band? It's called Green Day. It's punk. Like, all right, okay, good job.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the Xenon episode, and I think it's like that's a staple of Disney like teen characters. It's like I'm gonna do the opposite of what I should be doing.
Exactly.
I'm not a kid anymore.
So we go. That's also where we lead into meeting Flounder, then her getting chased. We also after that meet Scuttle.
Yeah.
And what?
That bird is so dumb. That bird is so dumb.
There's a Dinglehopper.
Yeah.
And a Snarfblack.
That's like this.
A question I did legitimately ask Julie Benz is like, what's your favorite word to say? Dinglehopper or Snarfblack? And she's like, Dinglehopper is what I always say when I'm at Disney World to meet Ariel. But I do love saying Snarfblatt. That is a very fun word to say.
It's a funny word.
It's a funny word, yeah. Then, where we go? This is when, like, she confronts Triton.
Oh, yeah, she goes back. She realizes she was late for the performance. She goes back. She gets scolded for missing the performance, all the stuff. And he's like, you got to stop obsessing about the human world. Like, don't go to the surface, all these different things. And then Sebastian's like, yes, right, you yell at her. I'd yell at her like, too, that was my daughter. And then Triton's like, oh, you would? You watch her now.
Babysitter.
Wait, what? Wait, what? I am a composer. I am a musician. How did I get thrown into this role?
He does say, trying to say, like, did I go too far in yelling at her?
Sebastian's like, you should be more strict.
Which is like, I won't put a pin on that thought. Keep that in mind when the bigger scene happens later.
He's like, Sebastian, she's a teenage girl. And it's like, if Ariel's mom was in the picture, the film would not happen.
Right.
Oh, I agree.
Because she would just be like, oh, it's fine. She'll get over it. She's 16.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a phase. She'll move on to something else.
Right.
If we focus on it, then she will decide, yes, this is my rebellion. And then just take off, which is 100% what happens.
That's exactly what happens.
Exactly. And see, this is why I kind of feel like if this was made today and it was a Pixar film, something would have happened to the mom that would be related to the human world, and that would explain the connection with it.
I think that in the series, or maybe even a Little Mermaid too.
Right.
Which sometimes I forget happened.
We all try to forget.
I think they do say, or maybe it's just something that Tumblr told me and is like stuck in my brain. That like her mom was killed by fishermen, and that's why Triton is so like
hesitant, which wouldn't make total sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the way he describes, like, you will get...
like they're harpooning terrible whatever.
Right.
Like,
Oh, you're speaking from experience.
Yeah.
You know? That's what happened. Exactly. That's implied storytelling, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, this is where we find out about her gigantic collection.
her hoard.
Her hoard.
And this is what she breaks it to, like, arguably one of the best songs in the movies.
The one song she sings, which it doesn't feel like.
It's because she has like 3 reprises of it.
Yeah. That's true. Totally true. And actually,
I'm butchering it right now, but we can't do this. We can't do this.
No, we're not. We're done.
No.
It's like,
Man.
you think you're right because of the multiple repeats. Like, you think she thinks he has way more songs. No,
that's it.
just the one.
Like when the movie starts and you have the opening orchestra or whatever, I was like, wait, that's a part of your world too. That is literally like kind of the ongoing like soundtrack of the whole movie.
But I think that song is such a relatable.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like it's one of the things where like I think anyone can kind of just go, at least I think like I'm a nerd. I collect the stuff too, and so like I look at my things, my thingamabobs, and like dream, and it's all part of the dream of what I want to be doing. And it's like I think I totally get it. I get why she sings about this and why these things connected to what she dreams about.
And see, Loki, when she's doing this is where I started to like her a little bit, because I was like, oh, maybe you're an explorer. Maybe you want to go out and explore different things. Loki, I started comparing it to like Arya from like Game of Thrones. It was like, you want to like experience things. You want to explore. You don't want to be trapped in the role of a princess. You want to do other things. But I was like, okay, cool. Maybe you're like a little bit badass. Until she goes to that party.
Oh, you mean like the big boat party?
Yeah.
No one never turned down a boat party.
Well, no, I don't. It's like, it's a lot of fun.
But that scene was really important because you're like, wow, she has 6 sisters, adoring fans, a father who clearly dotes on her.
She's clearly the favorite.
Yeah.
He decided to introduce her, so yeah.
Yeah, like by a lot, which, her poor sister.
Exactly. It's like low self-esteem much.
But she's so lonely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And I think that's also part of how relatable she is there, because you can be surrounded by people.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you don't fit in and no one ever tries to actually understand you,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so isolating and scary. It makes sense that she's trying to find connection in something else.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, no, and I think that is a big reason why like the human world's so appealing to her.
Right.
You know, the surface world's so appealing to her. It's
Because
like,
it's kind of cracking up because she's singing the song. She's like, I want to be free on the sand and I want to be where the people are. She's making it seem like so great. It's like, it really ain't that much better. Like, I'm just telling you, it's really not that much better.
No.
We have problems too.
No, like the line I think she's like fathers don't reprimand their daughters. Like, oh no, that's totally.
No.
Ariel, wait. Just as bad up here.
Exactly. Maybe worse. Maybe worse.
Being a teenager sucks everywhere.
Exactly.
Land, sea, or air.
No. Being in a royal family sucks everywhere. That's making Marco right now.
Yeah,
Fair. But that's where she does lay her eyes on Prince Eric. Which I get it. See that hair? It's a good hair.
He's one of the more attractive Disney princes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny when I see him and Aladdin side by side though, I'm always kind of like, y'all just darkened up Eric, it feels like a lot of times.
No, they did that all the time anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it.
It's like we got it right once, just keep working it. But yeah, so she sees Eric and then it's love at first sight.
Yeah. That classic.
Yeah.
That old chestnut.
Yeah.
Want to elaborate on that?
Love at first sight?
You want to why, want to elaborate why you don't like it?
I'm just tired of it and I think it's stupid.
There we go.
Before we started recording, we were having our own frustration. We started talking about Twilight. It was the things that relate to this at Twilight is like, gosh damn it, can y'all please stop doing this? It's like, I fell in love with you. Now I'll die for you within minutes. Like, wait, what? No. Don't do these things.
I've just never understood love at first sight. It's like, no, but you're a mermaid and you have a great life. Like, he's got like a cute dog and he's like fine to look at, I guess, but you're a mermaid.
Yeah. And low-key, this is where I get disappointed in Ariel. Because like this is where my disappointment begins, and it starts to become a snowball effect for me.
Because it starts off like kind of what you're theorizing, it's like a character who probably has her own motivation, her own dreams,
Exactly.
and she just wants to pursue. And then here it's like, ooh, cute boy.
Exactly.
And then that's the entire motivation for Ariel for
Like-
the majority of the film.
Like, if he had done something kind of badass, like, let's say the ship was like, let's say it's not a party, they're getting attacked by pirates, and she sees Eric, like, fend off a bunch of pirates and is a hero, and he's like, I'm about adventure and living life to the full. It's like, oh, he's kind of like me.
So I'm like,
then,
okay.
then I'll be like, okay, I'm on board, but he was just like, oh, he looked good. And then that was just about it.
Although I will say that Eric won me over during the storm.
Yeah.
He went back on the ship for the dog. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I get it, because Max is like the unsung hero of this film.
He is. Max be coming through.
He is the first one who sees Ariel.
Yep.
He's the first one to recognize Ariel.
Yeah.
And he's the first one to know that Vanessa is no good.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm like, just trust the dog. Always trust the dog.
That's true.
And Loki, it's with. I want to jump ahead a little bit. That's when we truly know Ursula is evil, when she stomps on Max with a high heel.
Yeah.
It was like, oh no, this is the most villain of villains right here. You are true evil.
Her
Oh no.
Do not touch the dog. The neat little fact about that storm sequence. So like, there was Walt Disney was planning on doing something with Little Mermaid back when he was alive. He had intentions to do a kind of something like Fantasia, where it was like another anthology series of shorts. And one of the stories was going to be Little Mermaid. And which is funny because then the directors of Little Mermaid didn't actually know about that until they were starting production. And someone in the archives went, Walt was going to do something with Little Mermaid. They were like, I'm sorry, what? So they looked up in the archives all this great art from the guy who designed Bald Mountain from Fantasia.
Oh yeah, because of the mermaids in Fantasia as well.
Yeah. So like all this really great art, and they actually were like, hey, no, let's pay homage a little bit. So some of the storm sequence has some of the imagery that was used in the original art
cool.
that Walt was considering doing. So there's a little bit of classic Walt, like, kind of in that sequence.
Yeah, and low-key, as you say that, I just kind of realized that when you look at Ariel's sisters and the mermaids from Fantasia, they kind of look very similar.
There's a definite homage in that regard, for sure.
Okay, so then after the storm sequence, they go through, and then Ariel goes back and she saves Eric's life. She sings to him, was like, that's when you realize, she's in love with this dude or whatever. He slowly wakes up and was like, okay, I'm into you, but she disappears.
Right.
She finishes the song in Part of Your World before going into the ocean, and when she goes back to the ocean, she's in love with them, trying to realize it and everything like that. And sadly enough, our boy Sebastian lets it slip that she fell in love with a human. And then we get Daddy destroys the horde. What was it? The horde.
And the statue.
The statue.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I think you went too far now. You yelling at her, I get it, being a little hard. Here, I'm like, no, don't do what you did here. And he felt it. And he was like, okay, maybe I went too far. You think?
Yeah, exactly.
You blew up her...
And you see him when he's like leaving too, as he's like exiting out and everything. You see him on his face. He's like, "Nah, I went too far there."
Yes, yeah.
But you can't like take that back. I mean, maybe he could have. He's magic.
Exactly. He did give some. Jumping ahead. He did use to try to give somebody a leg. So I'm like, you can rebuild some stuff. You can rebuild a thing about Bob.
Right. And that's where like Ursula's like eels like slither in with an offer to Ariel, and there is something very much like I kind of do. Find it cool where she's like swimming off with them. And Sebastian's like, where are you going? Don't go with them. And she's like, why don't you just tell my dad? You're real good at that.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I felt that.
Which I like though, because it gave the motivation for why he didn't go tell him right away.
Right.
Because he had felt like he betrayed her once and what happened, so he's like, let me not do this again. Right. But now we low-key get to like one of my favorite characters in film. We meet Ursula.
Yeah.
And she is so awesome. Like, what were you guys' thoughts when you met her?
Oh my god, one of the best Disney villains.
Like one of the best designs too. Like I love the idea that it's like, like what's like a different take on a mermaid? It's like, like a person horrifying. She's like a half person, half octopus, and I went, "That's amazing."
So what's really dope is I was doing some research on Ursula because what's kind of dope is today she's kind of become like a symbol in a way for like the LGBTQI community, as well as just for like body positivity and everything like that. Because she's confident in herself, she's like, you got to use the body language. Like, oh, okay, Ursula thick. All right, this works. But what's dope as well is they looking more to her background or whatever. I didn't know this, but her animator, she was actually designed by a Japanese Filipino animator on the movie.
Oh, rad!
She was based off Divine, right?
Yeah, the drag queen from New York and everything like that. So
in the John Waters film.
Exactly. So he used that inspiration and he combined them together and everything like that to create Ursula. Which I was like, as soon as I found this out, I was like, this is hella dope. One, you're using a drag queen to create this character, but the two, designed by a Japanese Filipino animator who worked for Disney.
That's awesome.
And he worked there for years. He recently got laid off in 2013 and he's like at the age of like 62 or something like that.
What the hell?
Yeah, he lives here in LA. So one of our goals is, fingers crossed everybody, hopefully be a Patreon exclusive. I want to interview him.
That'd be great.
Yeah, because he's worked on Pocahontas and a bunch of other cool movies and stuff like that too. He's got stories to tell.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Wow, first of all, I didn't know that. As a Filipino American, went right on.
Exactly. Loki, that's why I said, like, as we get ready to rate the movie later on, that's why I said I'm kind of torn because part of me is like, we're about to get into more problematic stuff for Ariel. But another thing was like, dude, a Japanese Filipino American was an animator of this movie who created Ursula. And then Ursula herself is like so dope. I was like, shit, this movie gets a lot of points. But it's nothing that was done intentionally. It's just like stuff that kind of happened by happy accident.
Right. This kind of leads into like the whole segment on the surface where Ariel now can't speak because that's the deal she made with Ursula.
Exactly. She has 3 days to get a kiss, a true love's kiss from Eric. Otherwise, she'll be turned into one of those like weird seaweed creatures.
Right. And it's kind of a good testament on the animators to like, okay, now your lead character can't talk. Like, you still have to convey emotion, you still have to do all these things. And how do you do that with a character who now cannot speak? And I think they did a beautiful job with her.
Yeah, it was really, really well done.
Yes.
It was, and I'll be real. At first, I was a little bit like, "Oh," but you took away that adventurous spirit from her a little bit. But then I love that scene where he gives her the horse carriage, and she
my god, it was so funny.
she's like, "Yeah, let's go!" I was like, "Oh snap!" They jump over the ravine, and then like they make it, and he's like shocked. He's like, "All right, this girl's cool as hell." I was like, "This is dope." I had to rewind that a couple times. Like Ariel gave no fucks. Like she was kind of badass.
And I like that he was on board for it. I was like, man, I actually like Eric so much better rewatching this film, rediscovering that he's actually like fine.
For sure.
He's really cool with like an adventurous lady, and I think that that's important.
Which then leads to like one of my favorite scenes. Kiss the girl.
Yes.
We're on the lake and everything like that, and we got a Scuttle who tries to sing it first. I was like, Sebastian's like,
Don't you ruin this for me.
Sebastian's like, amateurs. Percussion?
I think I'm a big fan of the fish that spits water
Yes.
around the boat.
Yes.
Which is like my favorite thing.
And one of them was flounder as well.
And one of them was flounder as well.
Like, oh!
Our boy's on top of it.
Like, good job, flounder. Look at a wingman. And it's such a romantic song. It's like, you feel like, oh, they're going to get so close. Everybody's watching it. Damn those eels. Damn those eels.
They're such good minions, though.
Yeah, they're good.
That's true. They're like some of the top tier minions.
Yeah, because they actually get the job done. Like they don't mess up. And so at this point is when Ursula realizes like, oh crap, she's going to do it. He's actually falling for her. I need to get involved. So that's when she starts kind of expel, and she begins like transform into like her own like to like an evil version of Ariel, which is Vanessa. Right. So they go back to this kingdom and everything like that. Ares begin to fall in love with her, but then he hears that voice, turns to the beach, and then there's Ursula as Vanessa, and she puts like a mind spell over everything like that, and they agree to get married like the very next day, by the afternoon.
Yeah. And that's like another great animated sequence of just Ariel hearing that. Again, not saying anything, but she has to animate the emotion of, fuck.
And it was heartbreaking, because Scuttle comes in and is like, you're getting married!
Oh,
and
God!
she's like, and runs down the stairs, and then just the fact that they were able to animate like that beautiful, gorgeous, bright hope, and then just
crush it. Scuttle.
Hate you, Scuttle! Hate you!
God damn it, Scuttle.
Damn bird!
Scuttle.
This leads into the big sequence in the ocean, yes? And the big
On the
finale.
ship. The wedding ship.
Oh my god. Like, all this is really great, but like Giant Ursula definitely scared the crap out of me.
Oh, well, yeah. What I did like though is that the skipper, when she finds out that it's Ursula in disguise,
and Scuttle's the one who tells her.
For once, he came through once. He came through once. One thing in the whole movie. And what's Ariel do? She's like, how do I? Bitch, I was a mermaid. Woo! She jumps right into the water and everything like that.
And then like, oh wait, I can't really swim.
No. And then Flounder has to drag her, which is like, okay, I'm not going to question the physics of this, but no, let's just roll on. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. It's a really cool sequence though, and like I think Ursula kind of like, you know how sometimes Disney villains kind of like, oh, they fall to their death.
Yeah,
that's like classic. She got like stabbed.
And honestly, this is why I did not like it. And here's the reason why. Because, like, the whole movie, it's just been, like, Ariel moving the plot along. Ariel's, like, moving this along. Oh, I gotta go save Eric. I gotta do this, everything like that. And so when Ursula turns giant, she falls down to, like, this, like, little well of water or whatever. And then she's, like, she's powerless, which I'm like, no, she should not be powerless. She should be one to take out Ursula. Yeah. Or they should do it together. And so by Eric doing it, it takes away from her, like, her autonomy and all the stuff we've built up. And again, she becomes a damsel, which I'm like, no, this is BS. Like, she was such a strong character until, like, this point.
Right. No, I can see that. Yeah. Okay. After Ursula's death, she gets her voice back. What's the shake? What's the head shake?
Well, she got her voice back at the wedding.
That's right. Yeah. But what's with the head shake? I want to know.
So then, after they do this or whatever, they defeat Ursula. Triton sees him. He's like, oh, I guess she is in love. And he's like, well, only one thing to do now. I'm just gonna miss her so much. And like turns her legs to human or whatever. And then they go and get married. I'm like, oh, this is bullshit. Because again, for me, I'm like, I would have respected more if like she had turned human and they would be together. And you would just see them on a ship. And it's like, where are we going? We're going after adventure. Or something along those lines. Versus like, I just want to like get married to this guy. I was like, look, y'all can be in love, but it's like, again, just as like stop and get married and be like another princess again, takes away from all that adventure we talked about earlier on. It was like, I want to be part of your world. I want to find out why fire's hot. I want to be an explorer. All that stuff gets taken away, which is again why I compare it to Arya from Game of Thrones.
Right. Why don't we now
go
ahead. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to our rating system. As you guys know at home, the way we rate our films that we watch or TV shows is we are the rating that's woke, waking, or sleep as shit. And so we're each going to give our individual rating. Here's the thing, though, it's not based upon how much we liked it. It's based upon, again, how inclusive do we actually think it is. Which I said, for me, is going to be kind of hard today, especially after I found out about, like, that animator and Ursula's impact on the community, but that's just me. So we'll take a moment right now. We'll write down our ratings.
All right. All right. While we're doing this, go ahead and you can comment here or in our on our podcast in the wherever our podcast is dropped. Sorry, I'm blanking out right now. Go ahead and comment on your favorite moment in the film, or if you were a fan of the cartoon show, or if you even seen the second Little Mermaid movie. Was it Ariel's daughter, right? Little Mermaid 2?
Melody, because she couldn't come up really.
Was there Arrow's Beginning? Was that another animated movie?
Yeah, that was one of those like straight to DV or VHS.
Yeah, you can talk about.
Which is still on Disney+, and I realized I haven't seen it, so I'm probably gonna watch it.
Yeah, no, that's the purpose of that app. You can just go, well, it's here.
Yeah.
So, hey, yeah, let us know. I think I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I think I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, on 3 we'll show it to the camera. On 1, 2, 3. All right, what are our rankings? We have sleep as shit. We have sleep, and we have
Waking.
totally
Great.
fine. Totally fine.
Great. No.
Totally fine. You want to start us off and tell us why?
Yeah.
So, as far as diversity, it is a white people movie. But I'm giving it the Waking because it is one of the first Disney films that I can remember, especially during the Renaissance, that the main character at least has a little bit of agency. She definitely loses it at the end. But she spends most of the film writing her own story. So I think that getting a big chunk of that is important. But yeah, that's really the only thing.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
You know what? That's actually a really fair point. And up until when she loses her voice, she is on her own adventure. She is in her own agency. So I'll definitely say good. That's a very good argument for that. I think though, but the moment she does lose her voice,
well, when she loses her voice, even she's still like, it's
Sure.
it is. I think it's just the end of like, oh, I'm married to the prince who killed my villain for me, and all done.
yeah, and I'm all good now.
And I remember before we were to record this episode, a friend of mine hit me up because he heard recording. He was like, "Be careful," because some people assume that when she loses her voice, that's where she loses her agency, but she doesn't.
That's true.
She continues she's pushing forward because she makes that choice herself, and she's doing everything to try to make this come about. So later on, the agency's taken away, kind of like the plot dynamics of it, like when they fight Ursula. But her choice to lose her voice, she's still enacting, still trying to make things happen.
No, and that's fair. I will say at the end of the day, for me, it still leans a little more to sleep. And I think a lot of that's the fact that at the end of the day, it is for 1989. There's a lot that's still really great about it, but also there's a lot where it's but it's, as you kind of said, it's a very white movie.
Yeah.
It's a very white movie, and it's kind of hard to not see that for the majority of the film. So I mean, that is still a good point with that. And yeah, you're right. You're right. No, the brain, even I right now is going to say, oh yeah, but she loses it when she stops talking. Well, no, that's not true. We just talked about the horse carriage scene. And went, no, that's actually, things like that do happen in the film.
Yeah.
You know.
Because her voice was something that other people valued about her.
Yeah.
It was her value for other people.
Right.
It wasn't actually something that she super cared about for herself.
Right.
So I always thought that was interesting too.
No.
Yeah.
So she was like, I could sing, I could not sing.
Yeah, fair. That's a good point. But I guess for me, it's it didn't seem like there was enough for me to kind of stay waking yet. So I was like, sleeping. I'll maybe say one eye is slowly waking up.
Lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming, yeah.
So, like I said, before we did this episode, I was really torn between sleeping shit and waking. I was like, this ain't woke. This ain't woke.
No.
There's way too many white mermaids for this to be woke.
No.
It's like not even a person of color mermaid. It's like, come on, they're under the ground. No one can be Filipino, Samoan. No, come on. Thank you for Moana later. But part of the reason why I said this was sleeping shit is because, so we talked about, Ursula and her, body positivity.
Right.
We talked about Ursula and connection to the LGBTQI community.
Yeah.
And we also talked about the fact there was a Japanese American who designed Ursula and the fact it was connected to a drag queen. But the thing about this was that none of that was actually done with forethought in a way. Those are things that the fans kind of found out later on and kind of discovered and brought that out. Especially with Ursula becoming those symbols of those different things. And so I just kind of feel like, for example, you just did that interview about the animation of Little Mermaid. You interviewed Jodie and the two head animators who are just all white. But they never talked about that Filipino Japanese American who designed Ursula.
Right.
Why is he not being interviewed more and being sent around and everything like that?
Especially for a character who's so iconic.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing about this is that we also talk about a lot, with Ariel, like I said before, again, she's autonomy, but that last scene, she should have struck the blow. And then at the end, I don't want to see her married. I want to see them go off with a kid like Arya. We're going for this ship on adventure. Let's go explore more of the world.
Yeah.
And then that's how we tie everything together to Frozen.
Right.
But again, so that's the reason why. Like honestly, so I agree. I was very torn, but honestly, it was because of those elements. Because it was like y'all could do better. Yeah. Because like again, when we talk about somebody who has agency and defeats the villain at the end, we'll get there someday. But like Mulan. Right. Mulan does a great job of that, whereas it again stays full circle.
Which hilariously was directed by the directors of Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Oh, see, yeah.
So
they figured it out.
They figured it out, yeah. And I love Moana. So, we'll see what happens with the upcoming remake, the live-action remake. I know they've already made the first big statement of like casting an African-American actress as Ariel, and we'll see.
I mean, that's the good thing about this story is like, yes, it's full of white people, but it doesn't have to be like like this is people will like, oh well, it's a Hans Christian Andersen or whatever fairy tale. So it's fake. They're mermaids. So anybody can look like anything because it doesn't really matter.
Exactly, they're fictional creatures. They can like Loki. They should probably be blue. Like they get in the water. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So before we, so again, one more time, you want to plug your amazing YouTube channel, and everything?
Yeah, for sure. So, Damsels, Dice, and Everything Nice, the princess parody RPG show, can be found at Dice and Nice everywhere on social media and YouTube. Damsels, Dice, and Everything Nice. We have 2 episodes up and a lyric video of our theme song.
Oh, check it out! Yay! And as always, you can follow us at Disney+Diversity on Twitter, Instagram. All our links are below in our description, everything like that. Please support our Patreon. And as always, oh shit.
Okay, I think we.
I think that girl did the job.
All right, okay, you're right. We do appreciate that. Bye.